Alright, day 3 of training camp is officially in the books for the Lakers. And if you're not aware, that was their final day of training camp before their first preseason game tomorrow night. Yes, they actually are playing tomorrow night, believe it or not. Lakers basketball will be back, and they will be back in action tomorrow night, having a late night matchup with Phoenix. Again, their first preseason game and our first opportunity to get a look at them on an actual NBA court. And well, with it, we already know of a few guys that won't be out there. Redick confirming that all 4 of LeBron, Maxi Kleber, Marcus Smart, and Adu Thiero will not be playing, likely hinting that they won't be playing in this game, nor their first 2 or 3 games either. But that's not yet to be confirmed. What we do know is that they won't be available for game 1, and that they're playing it safe with all 4 of them, having been very cautious and limiting all 4 of them so far, especially being true for Maxi Kleber following him getting hurt during day 1 of training camp. Yesterday we heard about that, and it really caused mass pandemonium among the fanbase. Rightfully so, with Kleber having a very extensive injury history, only playing 34 games last year, none of which came with their team, and not even playing a single regular season minute with their team, albeit playing 5 postseason minutes with their team. But we haven't seen very much of him, and the very first thing we heard about him was him getting hurt. Though fortunately, apparently it does not happen to be a very serious or any kind of long-term injury with him. Redick saying that Kleber will be out for a quote-unquote few days because of a minor quad injury. Again, not anything serious, not a major long-term injury here, simply holding him out due to being cautious and, again, not trying to push him through a preseason game or something that's not going to count quite yet. So that's the update with Maxi Kleber. Won't be available for their first preseason game, likely may be out for another couple days or so, again simply to be careful with him and to limit him, not have it turn into a real injury. And that's really been the trend, albeit a very cautious one, that the Lakers have been taking so far with them. And like I said, that does leave them with limited options for their lineup, both their starting lineup and their overall rotation, something that Redick hinted at following training camp day 3, saying that the team is still evaluating its lineup for the first preseason game this weekend, but it's already been determined that again, all 4 of LeBron, Marcus Smart, Maxi Kleber, and Adu Thiero will not be factored into it. And from something we heard about yesterday, the fact that Jake LaRavia has been playing with their starting lineup group, replacing LeBron and playing with the 4 of Luka Doncic, DeAndre Ayton, Rui Hachimura, and Austin Reeves, I would be willing to bet that he will be the 5th starter for their team in preseason game number 1. Likely the combination of himself, Reeves, Luka Doncic, DeAndre Ayton, and Rui Hachimura with him. And while I'm not going to say that's a gigantic thing to point to quite yet, I think it does say a lot about Jake LaRavia. The fact that he's really the next in line to replace LeBron and or Rui Hachimura, in my opinion, in their starting lineup, kind of overtaking a guy like Jared Vanderbilt, who also has been very highly talked about and complimented by JJ Redick. Redick going with him over Jared Vanderbilt. Marcus Smart not being an option quite yet, so can't point to that. Maybe he would go with Smart over Jake LaRavia in this situation, but the fact that LaRavia is in the conversation, only having been with their team for a few months now at this point, only really being with their team in action for literally a couple or few days rather, I think it says a lot about him, how highly JJ Redick views him, how highly he's talked about him, his skill set that nobody else in their team really can offer in my opinion. The big 3-and-D wing skill set, at least potentially. If he can offer it and if he can actually improve upon what he showed last season, then he might have a direct line to their starting lineup, maybe sooner rather than later than we think, even potentially by this season. And well, that's definitely something to watch out for here. The fact that Jake LaRavia has been playing with the starting lineup, in my opinion, likely to start in their first preseason game with no LeBron in action or Marcus Smart, and what he might be able to do within the rotation and potentially grow within it too, especially in regard to playing time throughout the year. So that's something to watch with it. I talked about Jared Vanderbilt yesterday. Redick saying that he looks like the pre-injury self or pre-injury version of himself. That's obviously a high compliment to give him. Vanderbilt was an elite, if not top 5 defensive wing in the entire NBA prior to getting hurt. Even last year, kind of dealing with the injury, was pretty damn good on defense, but not like the pre-injury version of himself. If he's back to that, and if he's added more to his game on offense while doing it, which Redick has kind of hinted at about with him, looking better as a 3-point shooter, looking better simply the way his body is right now, I think there's a lot to be looking forward to here with Jared Vanderbilt. But apart from the what ifs and kind of the hints by JJ Redick, another thing that's actually been confirmed and has been talked about during training camp is how hard they have been working and how much more physical Redick wants them to be. You know, Luka Doncic hinted at it. After being asked to describe his first Lakers training camp in 3 words, he said the following: fun, excitement, and hard. Really with the emphasis on that last one. Hard being how hard they have been working, the conditioning level that Redick wants them to be at, how much more physical he wants them to be, even tracking their conditioning and how much they're moving on the court. And yes, he really is doing that, and really not that surprising with how big of a psycho Redick tends to be. And according to himself, Austin Reeves has put in the most work and has been the guy that's been moving around the most throughout training camp. Even apart from that, Redick's saying that the players probably don't like him very much right now, you know, in a joking manner, but really hinting at how hard he has been pushing them, how hard he wants their conditioning level to be up, and how much different he wants them to look as compared to last season in a few regards, likely in regard to their transition defense, their conditioning level and ability to run throughout the entire game. He wants to make that a point and doing it early and often too. In fact, he even went into detail about the conditioning that they have been doing, saying that they ended practice today with making the team do a series of full court sprints, initially doing 6 lengths in 34 seconds, followed by doing 10 lengths of the court in a minute, and then once again ending with more 6 lengths in 34 seconds. That's where the quote came from, Redick saying, "I don't know if they like me right now." And overall here, they're definitely trying to build up the intensity. Again, getting their conditioning level up. They want to be running early and often, even throughout preseason, and we probably will see a glimpse of that tomorrow night.
I can say we're in better shape than we were 3 days ago. And I feel like our group is talking more than we were 3 days ago. So something we talked about before practice. You know, we're trying to build something. We're trying to get from a point A to a very far distant point B, and this is going to take time. But the daily commitment is what's important, and the guys have been great all 3 days.
Would you say better physically, mentally, all of it?
I don't know if they like me right now for what we just finished the practice with, but the physical part of it, I thought these guys were great. Their commitment to running, their commitment to being physical, I thought execution-wise and all the live play for you know, a group that hasn't been together, I would say was very above average.
After all, we heard a lot about him talking about championship shape, quote unquote, something that he mentioned probably 5 to 10 times during their introductory press conference, mentioning it more throughout their first media day interviews, and even something that they have been wearing on shirts and writing on chalkboards and showing throughout their training camp and practice facility. Once again, he has been talking about it, mentioning championship shape again following their 3rd day of training camp, something they literally have highlighted in the gym. So it's not something that he's trying to shy away from, not something that he's bluffing about. He wants them to be in championship shape, and again, he's not shying away from doing it and showing it too. Neither in regard to vocalization or showing it by having them do stuff on the court. I mean, pretty much the entire team is talking about it. I mentioned what Luka Doncic had to say and him citing the word hard to describe their training camp, but it's not only been him. Another player that's talked about it and gave a pretty great quote to describe how hard they've been working happened to be Gabe Vincent. Following day 3 of training camp, he gave a pretty good quote to sum it up. When being asked about the championship shape thing that Redick has been pushing, Gabe Vincent said the following: "If we all hate you, I think that's a good thing collectively," when referring to JJ Redick and how much he has been pushing them throughout training camp.
Yeah, I mean, I told JJ about a week or two ago, I said, if we all hate you, but we all hate you collectively, that's great, you know? So as long as we're together in it, you know what I mean? Obviously, no one wants to run at the end of a long practice, but we know the goal we have set for ourselves, and we know what we're trying to do moving forward. And we all embraced it, we all got the run in, and we all got better for it.
And I mean, if I had to guess, I imagine that Redick is sick of them giving up way too many points per game in transition last season. For example, they were a bottom 5 team in fast break points per game given up to their opponent last season, giving up nearly 17 of them per game. That's bottom 5 in the entire NBA. Then when you tack on the fact that they were a poor defensive rebounding team, a poor offensive rebounding team, a poor team at protecting the rim after giving up an offensive rebound, that's not a good combination. Yes, it's partially due to their size or lack thereof post-trade deadline, but it also came down to some of their effort and work as well, especially in regard to getting back on defense. So I imagine that's part of and probably a pretty big reason for why Redick is making it such a point this early, even throughout training camp as well. And well, I for one love it. If it wasn't directly addressed this early, even with the signing of a guy like Marcus Smart who definitely should help with it, then it might not be something they immediately look to change, or maybe change enough to where Redick wants them to be at. So combining that with it, combining the addition of a Marcus Smart for example, should have the Lakers trending in a much better and different direction on defense next season. And well, that's pretty much what we got for day 3 of training camp. The injury updates, the confirmation of who's not playing in their first preseason game, the guy that might be the replacement for a LeBron or Rui Hachimura going forward, the mentality, the championship shape that Redick wants them to be in, and how hard he has been pushing them throughout training camp. So with all of that being said, what do you guys think? How do you feel about what we have learned or maybe have not learned about the Lakers throughout training camp? How do you feel about their first preseason game tomorrow night? And simply the training camp takeaways we have gotten so far. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But I think that'll pretty much do it for this one. And if you enjoyed the video, then I would greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day or night.